Hey guys, Shadow Reviewer here. Well, today we've got another Halloween video extravaganza. And what's a horror villain without an obstacle? Most notably, the female lead. Now, what makes a good female protagonist? The actor, the character, the writing, and how badass they are. And that's what we're doing today. These are the top 10 best female leads in horror films. So, without any further ado, let's get on to number 10. Number 10, Laurie Strode from the Halloween series. And what else is there to say about Laurie Strode? Sorry about that. I mean, when you think of Final Girls, you think of Laurie Strode, and she is no exception to that rule. Jamie Lee Curtis pretty much made herself an icon with this role, being only 19 when it was filmed and 20 when it was released. And given her appearances in the original Halloween 2, H2O, and the sequel trilogy storyline, no, I'm not counting Resurrection, that's not canon. The character of Laurie is just freaking great. She is vulnerable, but not weak. Badass, yes. I mean, in the first two films, she was your typical final girl who seems to luckily survived. But being related to Michael Myers in the original Halloween 2 timeline and in the remake, which I'm not going to include on this list, I'm talking about the OG, she pretty much showed that she's going to fight back. And in H2O, we've got no exception to that rule. 20 years later, she's still haunted, but it doesn't let that stop her from fighting back and stopping Michael once and for all. And now we've got the requel sequel, the requel trilogy, where she is now in her 60s, but still kicking ass. I mean, she prepares for it, even if it cost her to lose her daughter Karen. But when Michael comes back into town, Laurie doesn't stop, creates a bunker, lays a trap, and escapes with her daughter and granddaughter. But then in Halloween Kills, which unfortunately she never even shares a scene with Michael, which is rather disappointing. But in Halloween Ends, she has one last final fight with Michael, and she finally stops him. This goes to show, no matter what age, young, middle-aged, or old, Laurie is not going to stop. And Jamie Lee Curtis is awesome. And I hope they finally stop with these movies, because Laurie deserves a break. Even if it did get her to lose her daughter forever, but keeps herself and her granddaughter safe. Number 9, Clarice Starling from the Hannibal series. We get one kick-ass heroine to another, and this chick is just not just kick-ass, but she's an, to quote Keanu Reeves, FBI agent. I mean, it is a no surprise. I mean, we've got I'm not including the Hannibal TV series because I haven't seen that. I'm only including the movie version. And let's just say Jodie Foster is iconic in the role, while Julianne Moore is pretty underrated. I mean, Clarice is trying to find the serial killer, and who does she turn to? Another serial killer, Hannibal Lecter. And she finds herself in great awe of evil. But it doesn't let that stop her for trying to find Buffalo Bill. And Jodie Foster is amazing in this movie. She's frightened, but she's not backing off. She's smart. But despite her agenda, it doesn't let that stop her from catching catching the criminal. And she does, in a really great scene where Buffalo Bill thinks he's got the upper hand, but surprise, his cockiness causes him to lose his life, and Clarice stops him. And even in that final scene where Dr. Lecter calls her one last time, it leaves a chill down her spine knowing he's out there and he could get her at any time. And it's shown in the movie Hannibal, where unfortunately Jodie Foster doesn't reprise the role, but again, Julianne Moore makes the character her own, and you feel bad for her as she's wrongfully accused of shooting up a gangster who was holding an infant, and it causes her to lose her credibility. But it doesn't let that stop her from trying to reach Dr. Lecter. And honestly, where Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins have fantastic chemistry, him and Julianne Moore have pretty good chemistry. And despite the character change and the movie itself being not my favorite in the series, Julianne Moore makes the character her own. She shows that Clarice is very strong. And no matter what happens, it doesn't let that stop her from being one of the best FBI agents ever. Clarice, you keep going with what you're doing. If they ever make another Hannibal Lecter movie, I want this character back. Number 8. Maddie Young from Hush. Yet another strong character, and the only one, I think, on this list to have a disability, sort of. It's explained in the movie that at the age of 13, she was in a car accident that caused her to lose both her hearing and her voice. So yeah, she's a mute and deaf. But Kay Spiegel, who was the wife of who is the wife of the director of this movie, Mike Flanagan, she is excellent in this role. I mean, she's in a cabin in an isolated woods where she can write in peace, given that she's a writer. But there's this creepy man who stalks her and pretty much torments her for the entire film. But does that stop Maddie? No. She comes up with very clever ideas on how to escape and how to survive. And again, Kate Siegel makes the character her own. She doesn't let her disability stop her from what she's doing. And she is a smart protagonist too. Distracting the burglar with a flashing light, using the fire alarms against him, and pretty much finishing him off at the end. So there's this great scene where she's coming up with multiple ideas, and even though some of them don't work, they're all in her head, and she's coming up with multiple ideas, which is ingenious, I must add, given the mentality and she being isolated. This is a clever cookie. And she does eventually come up with a clever idea, and it ended up working in the end. So Maddie Young from Hush is a kick-ass protagonist. And if Toph from Avatar has told me anything, never screw around with people with disabilities. You don't know what they're capable of. They can pretty much screw you over permanently. And that is no small feat. Keep at it, Maddie. Keep at it. Number 7. Nancy Thompson for the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Most notably the original Part 3 in Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Not including the remake, though. I mean, how can I not include a horror film's protagonist list and not include this chick? I mean, you want kick-ass protagonists that fight back against the villain and win? Well, let's just say Freddy's number one nemesis has got that covered. And honestly, Nancy Thompson is awesome. Heather Langenkamp does a fantastic job in these movies. I mean, in the first one, when she sees her boyfriend and her 2 friends getting taken out one by one, she fights Freddy on her turfs, and she comes up with the genius ideas. Booby trapping the house, attacking him during her sleep times, and just over and being awesome. Even if it did get her to lose her mother, who was pretty much the cause of his misery to begin with. But does that stop her in future sequels? Hell no. particularly in part 3, where she is hired as a nurse therapist, I'm not entirely sure, of these younger kids who are also tormented by Freddy. And honestly, this is my favorite Nightmare film, and given Heather Langenkamp, that is a high bar. And I'm absolutely devastated that they killed off Nancy here. But does she go down fighting? Yes. She takes out she's like, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me. And she's an absolute kick-ass woman, and it is a ton of fun seeing her take Freddy down, even if it wasn't permanent. And I'll have to say, while I'm have mixed feelings about Wes Craven's New Nightmare, given the sort of meta humor, Heather Langenkamp, who plays a fictional version of herself, still does an excellent job. I mean, given that she has a son to look after and her past work continues to literally bite her, she has no signs of slowing down, particularly during the final sequence where her son is in danger and she doesn't stop until she and her son are safe. And that is a ton of fun. Oh, and if you're wondering about the remake version, that one sucks. And we all know it. So I'm sticking with the OG, and Heather Langenkamp as Nancy Thompson is a kick-ass leading lady. Even if she sadly died. But hey, at least she went down fighting, and that is a kick-ass woman in my book. But there are 7 other entries that are on the same level of kick-assery, so being on this list is nothing to be ashamed of. Number 6. Sienna Shaw from Terrifiers 2 and 3. And maybe 4 if they finally decide to the 4th and final installment. Yeah, they say final installment. I have my doubts. But Lauren Vera does a great job in the role. Whereas the first Terrifier was okay, but beautiful on the practical stuff, the sequels is where they not up the violence, but they up the characters. And we get a kick-ass leading lady of our generation. This is pretty much my generation's kick-ass horror lady. And Sienna Shaw is no exception. I mean, given her past and, well, her mother and her weird-ass brother Jonathan, she has a great character. Pretty much one that is tormented by art. But, man, that freaking suit she wears in the second movie, that is pretty much badassery written all over it. And during that final sequence where she fights art, good lord. But what really puts it this high on the list is the third movie, where she has to deal with the events of the second movie, but in a much more dark and disturbing way. Whereas in the second film is set around Halloween, the third one's set around Christmas. La 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 la. And this is where Lauren Lavera's performance goes from great to excellent, as she has to deal with selfish internal brats that feed off her fame and her survivor's guilt from the last movie. And she's not having any of that. And that final sequence at her aunt and uncle's house, amazing. This shows that not only Sienna is not backing down, she's not backing down without a fight. And even though it ends on a cliffhanger, great. It shows that she's not ready to stop anytime soon. And if they ever make that 4th and final installment, I hope it ends on a good note with Sienna being the freaking badass that she is. And Lauren Lavera, please keep continuing to get extra work. You made an iconic badass final girl of our generation, so keep up the great work. Number 5. Mia Allen from Evil Dead. I'll give bonus points over the original. At least it's not another Ash Williams. And Mia, let's just say, she literally goes through hell in this movie. From being a recovering addict and trying to get over her loopy past, and of course their mother dying in the hospital, she goes through hell. And I mean, there's a bit of a fake out with her being the first one of the group to get possessed. You're naturally sure she's going to die, but thanks to her brother, she's the one that survives. And Jane Levy does a fantastic job in this role, as she pretty much goes from recovering addict, demon, freaky out crazy, and badass all in the same movie. It's like she plays all different variations of victims in these movies. She's like, to quote Nostalgia Critic, a one-woman G-show. And that is awesome in my book. Especially that final scene with the chainsaw and such, which I can't go into gory details without getting the video demonetized, but let's just say she has a kick-ass line waiting for him, and it's freaking awesome. You want to see that final sequence? I don't know. Buy the movie or go find a clip that's not age-restricted. You won't be disappointed. And if they ever make that new Evil Dead movie they keep saying they're gonna make, I want this chick to be back. I mean, have her, Ash Williams, and Beth and her niece from Evil Dead Rise to team up to take down these evils once and for all. Bring Mia back. She is a kick-ass lady. She is a kick-ass woman that's gone through hell. And I hope Jane Levy reprises the role, because I don't think I see anyone else but Mia can do it. Man, that woman goes through hell. Both figuratively and literally. Number 4. Crystal May Caressi from The Hunt. Well, The Hunt may not be your typical scary flick. It's more political, which I'm not comfortable talking about. Let's just say it has a great female protagonist in Crystal May, played expertly by Betty Gilpin. And for when she appears on screen, she not only brings in the badassery, but it shows she has no tolerance for anybody. She won't take anyone's BS, and I kind of like that about her. She's a ton of fun. I mean, from the very first moment we see her, she knows something is up and just goes for it. And she does it throughout the majority of the movie. Being told multiple lies, not taking anyone's BS, and during that final sequence between her and Athena, who's played by Hilary Swank, that fight scene between the two ladies is honestly the highlight of the movie, and props to Betty Gilpin and Hilary Swank for giving the performances we deserve. But Crystal May is just a kick-ass leading lady. Taking her crap, is willing to kick ass when she needs to, and she is absolutely hilarious. So I have to say, you want a fun time that doesn't take itself too seriously, but with a cool kick-ass protagonist played by Betty Gilpin, go give this movie a watch. You won't be disappointed. That is, if you don't take the politics that this movie gives a bit too seriously. So yeah, Crystal May is a great protagonist, and I'm glad they stuck with her for the majority of the movie. Number 3. Tree Gilman from the Happy Death Day series. Yeah, there's pretty much this horror take on Groundhog Day. Yeah, there's a bit of horror parodies in this. The other two were fine. Freaky, based on Freaky Friday, and It's a Wonderful Knife, based on It's a Wonderful Life. They were fine. But what really sticks out about this movie is the horror take on the premise and Jessica Roth's performance. I mean, when you know about this character, you instantly sympathize with her. She's grumpy and mean at first, but as the movie progresses, she becomes less mean and more sympathetic. But as you find out that the reason why she's such a grouchy pants on her birthday, her mom shared the same birthday with her, but she passed away a few years ago. Hence why she's so hesitant to be... why she's such, horrible. And Jessica Roth gives an excellent performance visualizing that. And when she eventually figures out who's been constantly killing her on the night of her birthday, that's where the kick-ass comes in. It may not be scary in the scared department, but it's absolutely funny. And honestly, Jessica Roth makes it work. And hot take, and this is my strictly opinion, she would have made a much better Captain Marvel. Keep that in for a second. But I like Tree Gilman. She's an absolute riot. And that shows again when the sequel came in 2 years later, the Happy Death Day to You. And they took it on a multiple dimensional approach, which is kind of silly, but hey. With the performances, I don't care. And they give Tree a much more depth, where in an alternate dimension her mother is still alive. And she has a conflict whether if she should stay alive and be with her mom or die and accept the reality. And honestly, the scene where Tree says goodbye to her mother is heartbreaking to watch. I mean, if you've lost somebody in your life and you ever thought of saying goodbye one more time, this will feel right at home. Honestly, for me, if I got to say goodbye to my brother Jason one last time, I would take that chance. So yeah, I love Tree Gilman in these films. She's funny, she's smart, she's kick-ass. And if they ever make that third movie, Happy Death Day to Us, please make that third movie. We've been waiting for years. I want Tree to come back and be as kick-ass as she is. But it makes me wonder, what's the premise of the third movie? We'll have to see. Sorry about that. Number 2. Aaron from You're Next. This is pretty much what every horror protagonist should be. Not just kick-ass, but very efficient. And played expertly by Shawnee Vincent. Yes, Shawnee Vincent. She has the same name as me, and I'm absolutely honored. And fun fact, Shawnee Vincent was in a movie called Bait 3D with, I'm not kidding, Katherine Heine and Phoebe Toykin. Yeah, Ricky and Cleo from H2O. And yeah, Bait 3D. Go watch that movie. Shawnee Vincent's in it with two of the H2O mermaid actors. I thought that was a fun fact I'd like to show up. Anyway, Erin herself, there's not much to tell about her past, except she grew up on a survivalist compound. And that's enough for me to show that she's a badass character. When shit starts going down and there are people out to kill this family, Erin pretty much springs into action and tries to keep the family safe. Although they don't listen to her, because, newbie and all, it shows that she's willing to arm herself with weapons, set up traps, and prepare herself for whatever the occasion. And again, Shawnee Vincent does an excellent job of the role, conveying the character. I mean, there's a ton of awesome moments where she attacks one of the intruders and pretty much goes to ham on him, making sure she doesn't double tap, she goes for it and doesn't stop until the guy stopped moving. Same with the others, and spoiler alert here, the guy she's been dating has been a part of has been one of the intruders the whole time, which, man, that's gotta hit hard. The guy you're dating is actually one of the people hurting this poor family? Damn, that's gotta hit hard. But that doesn't stop her. Erin is awesome. She's smart, kick-assery, efficient, and very practical. She makes sure what to do, and she just goes for it with no hesitation. Erin is a kick-ass female lead in a horror film. But there is one that I consider just freaking perfect. And given its meta-ness back in the 90s, I think you know who it's going to be. Can't wait to see your reaction. And what I consider the number one best horror female protagonist is Sidney Prescott from the Scream series. I mean, how could it not be? I mean, if you want to talk about female protagonists, Sidney Prescott is pretty much the ones you're thinking of. While there have been others earlier than her, or some that are later, Sidney Prescott is pretty much the kick-ass female protagonist you want in your movies. Vulnerable, but strong, smart and practical, knows what she's up against, and doesn't stop. I mean, in the first movie, again, spoilers, she finds out that her boyfriend and his best friend are the killers in the first movie, and given the reason her mom's dead, man, that really hits hard on her. But she doesn't stop. In the second movie, her boyfriend's mother is the fucking killer, and she teamed up with one of the students to try and kill her too. She doesn't stop. Then in the third movie, where she finds out her half-brother, who both, by the way, they both share the same mom, has been trying to frame her as the villain, she doesn't stop there. Even her own cousin in the fourth movie, her cousin and her partner, she doesn't stop there either. Hell, in the hospital scene, there's this great line from Sydney that I absolutely love. You forgot the first one remix, Joe. Don't F with the original. And she doesn't stop there. Even in the fifth movie, she doesn't even know who these people are, but I love this one scene. She picks up the phone, the killer does the whole thing. She's like, I'm bored, and hangs up. She's like, I have done this 4 damn times already. I'm not going through this again. And while she's kind of in the background of the fifth movie, Neve Campbell still does excellent in all 5 movies. And while I'm miffed that she's not in part 6, it kind of makes sense in regards to the story. But regardless, Neve Campbell, in the nearly 30 years she's been playing this character, makes the character her own. Smart, quippy, excellent, and she just has great moments that I absolutely appreciate. I mean, she takes no crap from Ghostface. Even been tormenting her not once, not twice, not thrice, but 5 times. She's just excellent at what she does. And yes, it is confirmed, February 2026, she will be returning for Scream 7, given the 30-year anniversary of the franchise. And I hopefully this is the last movie, I highly doubt, they make Sidney Prescott kick ass again. And I really appreciate that for this character. So I say Sidney Prescott from the Scream franchise, my #1 favorite horror female leading lady. And I don't think anything else is going to change my mind after that. She is awesome. Enough said. And that's the end of the video, folks. I hope you like it. Give me a thumbs up, like and comment and subscribe. And I hope to get more videos out like this. Hopefully the knives will cooperate. It's hard to do this on this hand. Next Friday, I'll be giving you the top 10 best performances in horror films. I'll be commenting on the performance of the character and the actor who plays them. So keep an eye out for that video. But I've got a video tomorrow when I do Pokemon Season 3, episodes 26 to 27. Keep an eye out for that video. Until then, I'm the Shadow Reviewer. Happy Halloween.